good?
Well, I'm Jerry Costello, Director of the Illinois Department of Agriculture. Thank you. And I'd like to welcome you to the 2023 Illinois Farm Progress right here in Decatur, Illinois. We have visitors from all across the country, but I think it's important to acknowledge as well, we have visitors from over 40 other countries. Fairly amazing that you're getting that kind of attendance. How about a big round of applause for all of our participators? Ag's the #1 industry in the state of Illinois. It's over a $25 billion annual economic impact. And we here in Illinois realize what that means not only to our state, but the country and the world. At the Farm Progress, for many of us, it's somewhat of a reunion where we all get together, talk about the ag industry. As a matter of fact, I call it the Disney World of agriculture. If you can't have fun here and enjoy everything that's new, great, you're not going to go anywhere and appreciate agriculture more than Farm Progress Show. But it's also a time for us to really talk about the achievements that we've had here in the state of Illinois, as well as the priorities of Governor Pritzker, the Pritzker administration, the Illinois Department of Agriculture. In 2021, right here at Farm Progress, Governor Pritzker announced the expansion of the Farm Family Resource Initiative. FFRI was created in partnership with Southern Illinois University School of Medicine. When it was created, it covered 6 pilot counties. Now that program covers the entire state of Illinois, all 102 counties. So we still have the original helpline, which is 833-FARM-SOS, 833-FARM-SOS, the original helpline. There's also a text option now, an email option, as well as 6 free telehealth visits for anybody that may need those. The one thing that I really want to stress, this is all confidential. Every bit of this information, the interaction, is confidential. I don't have to tell you all that there's a stigma, especially in rural areas, about accessing mental health help. Again, 100% confidential. Today it's my honor to be joined by Governor Pritzker, along with many other people who are huge proponents of agriculture here in this state. And Governor Pritzker is going to talk about a new commitment to this program. And it's one that's being done through youth right here in the state of Illinois. These youth are going to be advocates. They are, and they're going to be more of advocates for accessing mental health help. It's my honor to bring to the podium Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Well, thank you very much, Director Costello. Thank you especially for your leadership. This is our #1 industry in the state of Illinois. Having a leader like Jerry Costello for our Department of Agriculture is just an indicator of how important we see this and the future that we intend to have. I want to thank everybody for joining us. I really am so grateful to all of you for coming in. I mean, you could be out there, and it's a beautiful day, let's face it. You could be out there wandering around, but you're in here with us, and we're really glad to see all of you. Well, I want to express my gratitude also to the people who are standing here on the stage with me. Of course, our great Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, our Senator Doris Turner, Senator Paul Faraci, SIU President Dr. Dan Mahoney. Here in the audience today, our FFA leaders, thank you for being here with us today and for showing off just how great our young people are in the agriculture community. We have our Farm Family Resource Initiative Advisory Council members here, and of course a lot of show attendees and exhibitors that have joined us as we take steps forward to safeguarding the health and well-being of farmers throughout our state. For generations, farmers have awakened at the crack of dawn to feed their livestock and to tend to their crops so that the rest of the world can enjoy the nutritious food that they produce. Countless hours a day, 7 days a week, workers and families put in everything that they've got, and that can come at a personal cost. Across the nation, we're in the midst of a mental health crisis, one that affects our children, our seniors, and yes, our farmers too. As governor, as a father, and as someone who has personally witnessed the mental health epidemic among family and friends, there is nothing more important than making sure that every Illinoisan has access to the mental health services that they need to lead happier and healthier lives. Our Farm Family Resource Initiative pilot program has been a resounding success, providing telehealth, mental health access, and a helpline to every single one of our state's 102 counties in its expansion. Our work has only just begun, though, and that program is moved out of its pilot phase and will now be an ongoing part of our budget. And I'm very proud that that is now a permanently available resource for farmers across Illinois. Well, today I couldn't be happier to announce an innovative additional grant program to provide our agriculture communities with grassroots outreach to help break down the stigma of accessing mental health services. And we have the perfect spokespeople right at our fingertips, and that's our FFA youth. I have 2 Gen Z kids myself, and let me tell you, this generation knows that healthcare includes mental health care. I know that we have historically, across the United States, treated it like there's a stigma associated with mental health care. No longer, and especially for this youngest generation of adults, they understand how important it is. They're not burdened by the same hesitancy in accessing mental health services as generations past. They speak freely and candidly and empathetically about mental health struggles, and it's made them experts of sorts and advocates. So our rural mental health grant program begins by funding up to 20 grants at $1,000 each to support FFA chapters in implementing local initiatives to encourage access to mental health resources. And thanks to our state's recent investment to increase FFA membership accessibility, we now have 41,000 potential community-based FFA messengers, and they are up to the task. I want to say at this juncture how proud I am of our Senator Doris Turner, who really has been a leader in expanding FFA membership. It was her idea and her leadership that made it possible for us to offer FFA membership free to people all across Illinois, and I can't tell you how important that's been. Our greatest problems require our most creative solutions, and I'm confident that this new grant program supporting our young people in their effort to get the word out will simultaneously break down barriers and open up doors for our state's #1 challenge and for the providers that are helping to address it. And with that, I want to turn it over to your Rural Affairs Council Chair, my partner in governance, our great Lieutenant Governor, Juliana Stratton.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Farm Progress 2023. Thank you, Governor Pritzker, for that warm introduction and for your leadership that puts the people who are at the heart of our state's agriculture industry right at the forefront. The governor has already acknowledged all of our special guests and leaders joining us today, but someone snuck up while he was speaking that we have to acknowledge because she has been a powerful voice to uplift agriculture and agricultural communities, and that is our Congresswoman, Nikki Budzinski. And I also just want to acknowledge Mayor Julie Moore Wolf for being such a fantastic host of the Farm Progress Show 2023. Thank you for having us. Thank you all for your partnership in the work to ensure that our families can thrive. And I want to take just a moment to acknowledge the late State Senator Scott Bennett, who was such a strong advocate for mental health programming for our farm families. His legacy will live through his work and this work, and Illinois is better for his many contributions. You see, we can all play a role in breaking down mental health stigma, and our administration is committed to digging in with all hands on deck so every Illinoisan is empowered to raise their voices and receive the resources that they need for a good quality life. The Rural Mental Health Grant Program is a major step in our work to do just that by investing in the efforts that break down barriers to accessing mental health resources. Because if you're struggling with your mental health, it can often feel like you're alone and have nowhere to turn. And it's particularly isolating to carry the stigma and shame that prevents many in our rural communities from seeking help. Well, we're here today to make it clear that it's okay to not be okay. Illinois stands with you, and we will continue to uplift the services that will help you to be well. As farmers, growers, and ag workers, you are never alone in your journey because ag connects us all. You know, as an FFA honorary state degree recipient, I've had the privilege of seeing how essential Illinois' FFA chapters are to building even stronger ag communities in our state. And the Rural Mental Health Program taps into powerful connections that FFA chapters have cultivated across Illinois to spread the word and break down the stigma to mental health care. And as the chair of the Governor's Rural Affairs Council, I'm focused on working for and with rural residents to build holistic pathways for a good quality of life, including health care, economic opportunities, and education and workforce development. Now that's why the collaboration with SIU is so important. SIU is an important partner and leader in the delivery of health care to our rural communities, and our rural areas have contributed so much to our state. And this announcement shows how we are committed to joining forces as leaders and community members to provide for them. And we're far from done. As we continue to build the groundwork that uplifts rural communities in Illinois, just know that help is here and it's within reach. And if you know someone that's struggling, or if you're struggling yourself, the Farm Family Resource Initiative helpline is available 24/7 at 1-833-FARM-SOS. Again, that's 1-833-FARM-SOS. Thank you, and now I'd like to bring forth a visionary leader and a steadfast partner in this work, SIU System President, Dr. Dan Mahoney.
Well, thank you, Lieutenant Governor. The SIU campuses are internationally known for innovative medical education and research, preparing the next generation of practitioners to deliver the highest quality clinical care. Through our new Institute for Rural Health, which we started just 2 years ago, SIU aims to improve collaboration across university-based programs and regional partners to improve access to quality health care for rural and farming communities. That's why we're particularly proud to be part of the Farm Family Resource Initiative. It's very much on mission for us. The Farm Family Resource Initiative, managed by SIU, provides a range of resources, including a helpline to assist with farmer and farm-related issues that include mental and physical health needs, which we've talked about today. We are very grateful to Governor Pritzker, Director Costello, and the Department of Agriculture, and the late Senator Scott Bennett for championing this important issue for families that really help all of our communities across the state. And let me say, I've lived many parts of the country. I have never seen this amount of support for agriculture from a wide range of elected officials. So really, we thank all of them for all of their efforts on behalf of agriculture. It's important to me in my role, but I also say important to me personally, having grown up in a rural community. With partners like the Illinois Department of Agriculture and the Illinois Department of Human Services, we're already moving forward for health for rural families. Now, working with the Illinois FFA chapters, we have the opportunity to expand our impact by engaging youth in a multi-generational approach to mental health and wellness. So again, thank you, and thank you all for your support. I will now turn it back to Governor Pritzker to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Gary. Appreciate you. Happy to take any questions from members of the media. Cole.
There's probably a lot of farmers here that would like to see the threshold on the estate tax raise that's been brought up this summer and last time as well. Would you support that being raised to the federal level at $12 million?
Well, I know that's a proposal of Democratic Senator Dave Kaler, and that's something that will be considered in the upcoming session, no doubt about it. It'll be important to consider around that what the effect on the state budget would be, what the effect on families would be. Is that the right threshold to have for the estate tax in the state of Illinois? All of which I'll take into consideration.
Migrants to get work permits. How could that help the ag community?
Well, I don't know if any of you know that we've seen, the migrants coming to Illinois. These are folks who are here legally. They're seeking asylum in the state of Illinois. This is not undocumented people. These are legal residents, at least for the time being, as they seek to have a hearing. What we've said is that we think that they ought to have the ability to get jobs. We have jobs available in Illinois, and in the ag community we have jobs available. We'd like them to be able to work rather than for us simply to be supporting them while they're waiting for their hearing. It seems better for all of us, putting them to work, letting them support themselves. So that's why we've not just written a letter, although that's the thing that was reported on yesterday, but I've had multiple conversations with the White House and with various members of the cabinet in Washington about doing this. I think it's a vitally important step forward. Could it be great for the ag community? Of course it could be. And you've seen that there is more and more work that needs to get done, not enough people available to do it. So why not let people who are here resident, at least for the time being legally, until they have their hearing, have them work? Again, there's been no time in my lifetime, I don't know about some of the folks who are my age, if you can remember a time, when we've had more jobs than we've had people available, and I'm talking about across the United States. It's not a phenomenon just in Illinois. So let's take the people that we already have here who are, many of them, capable of going to work. And I've talked to industries who've said, like the restaurant industry, the Illinois Restaurant Association I said, how many people could you put to work right now if we gave you, the migrants and made them available? 3,000 jobs, they said, that they've got available right now to put people to work. And I haven't asked the ag community, but I'm sure that I would hear something similar.
Governor, just to go off topic for a second.
Yes, sir.
Yesterday you were asked a question in the context of the Mike Madigan-related trials about moving on in terms of ethics reform, saying it needs to be evaluated every year, putting good people in office, etc. But also yesterday at the same time, it was announced that you just appointed longtime state senator Stephen Landick to the Illinois Finance Authority. His name has been referenced in federal search warrants in the past. Why do you believe that Landick's appointment to the Illinois Finance Authority was appropriate?
Look, just because someone's name is brought up does not mean that they're guilty of something. As you know, there are plenty of people who serve as witnesses in trials who there's nothing wrong with them. And so until there's some proof or evidence that someone has done something wrong, I don't see why they shouldn't be allowed to serve. This is somebody who's spent many years in public life, and I think has been examined up and down, certainly by his constituents over many years. So I don't think there's a challenge there. But if there's evidence of somebody doing something wrong, and therefore they shouldn't be serving in any kind of publicly appointed position, I will want to know that, and I will, of course, take action. We lost our congresswoman, so I could have turned it over to her. I will say that I'll just give you one example of something that I've talked to our congresspeople about that I'd like to see included. And there's a lot, as you know, the Farm Bill is quite a complex endeavor and very important to our state. But here's one thing that people haven't paid a lot of attention to. I think that we ought to have anaerobic digesters funded by and supported by loans made available to farmers so that they can not only earn dollars off of the waste that comes off of farms, but also produce energy. And so that's something that I think we've seen happen in Europe. It's something that there are a few of in the state of Illinois, but they're expensive for farmers, and we don't have a program that exists today that finances those anaerobic digesters. So that's just one small example, but just be assured that I've tried to be a voice for the agriculture community here in Illinois. That's one example of many of things that our congressional delegation is working on already in Washington.
Governor, quick on topic. Can you talk a little bit more about this program, PFFA initiative? It also sounds like the members will be active community health workers advocating in rural farmers and healthcare. Is that the case then? If so, do they get some training to kind of be able to work with these individuals and make sure they're able to provide advice?
Look, I think what we haven't taken into account is the need to communicate, simply to communicate with people all across the state of Illinois, and in particular across downstate Illinois. Not enough has been done to let people know that there is help for them, that we have programs available, and that it is free to them. And so having spokespeople who are all across the state of Illinois representing what's important, providing those services to people in farm communities, I think is just another way for us to get the word out. It's not a particularly expensive program, but there are expenses that are necessary to take care of for FFA programs to help them to proliferate the information. So once again, it doesn't interfere with any existing programs. It's just another way for us to get the word out there.
Following up on the question earlier about the work permits,
Yeah.
how unique is that situation? Is this a typical process you're going through right now, or is this something that is likely, that has been granted similarly, albeit on smaller scales?
So this is a program that exists in federal law to provide these work permits for people who are here on a temporary basis, right? But it hasn't been enacted since we've had this migrant crisis. And we've had people that arrived in August of 2022, so 1 year ago, who've been here for a year, who are ready to work. They've wanted to work since the day they arrived. And I understand the reluctance to provide people a job immediately upon showing up and declaring refugee status when they show up, because that encourages people in faraway places to say, oh, maybe I can go get a job, right away in the United States. We don't necessarily want to encourage that kind of migration. On the other hand, once people have spent several months here waiting for what is a required hearing, that they're just waiting for these hearings have been delayed because so many migrants have come to the United States. And so we ought to let people work after a certain period of time. So I've communicated that, fine, if you want people to come here and know that if they come to the United States, they have to wait a period of time before they can work, that's fine. That might discourage people that are thinking about coming to the border who may not have actual asylum seeker status that they should be granted. But after 6 months, my goodness, it seems like let's give them a chance, especially because we have so many jobs available. It seems like a marriage made in heaven if we can get those things working together. But that isn't something that the administration has yet been able to do. Other states like Illinois have communicated this to the White House, and I think it's time that we employ those folks, at least as long as they have legal status here. Thank you.